Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, or good morning, or good night, depending on where you are. It's Steve Williams here from PowerQuest Keyboard Player, and hello. Basically, it's new album time. We got a new record coming out. Well, it's already out in Japan. Came out on the 26th of January, and I know a lot of you guys have already heard, well, quite a bit of it to be honest. But it's coming out in the UK on March the 28th. It's out in Europe, 23rd of March. I think it's Spain, Finland, and Sweden. 25th, it's Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the Benelux territories, and Italy. And then finally, the USA and Canada on April 5th. Obviously, it's been a long ride and a rocky ride at times since the Master of Illusion record back in 2008. But we're back now. We're firing all cylinders, and I think we're bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. We've had a number of requests for the return of the Peaky podcast that debuted 5 or 6 years ago now. I think me and Unlucky Kiwi Steve used to dabble with these things. But a load of you guys have submitted questions that you kind of want me to answer, and you want the rest of the boys to answer. Well, it's just me here at the minute, but I thought I'd make a start and answer some of these things for you. There's questions from Facebook, and from our sort of hardcore fans on the PowerQuest forum at Ultimate Metal as well. So I'm going to start off with some of the Facebook stuff, actually, seeing as that's what I've got in front of me. First question is from Tamas Horvath, who asks, how confident are you in this lineup compared to the old one? Can these guys continue the legacy of the Quest? Good question. I think those of you who've heard the new record so far, or clips of it, have probably got a fair idea what I'm going to say. The new guys, well, to a man, to be honest, have rejuvenated the band and me. They brought an energy that maybe was lacking perhaps on the last record. I don't know, I guess you guys would judge that better than me. But, the likes of Andy Midgley and Gav Owen, guitarists, what a partnership. It's a shred mania, but with melody. They know when to play and when not to play. And that's the art of being a great guitar player to me. Paul Finney and Rich Smith, bass and drums respectively. What a great rhythm section. Great guys. I've known Paul for years. You guys may have met him as well on UK tours and further afield. He used to be our stage manager before a bit of promotion from within, to use a corporate phrase. And finally, vocals. Your friend of mine, Mr. Chitty Somapala. Great guy, great experience, great vocalist. Obviously very different to what we've had before with Alessio, but I'll come to that later with some of the other questions. So yeah, I'm very confident. I think the record label's right behind the record. The Japanese fans seem to really like what we've done, and let's see what happens. We've got a question here from Jesse Kosalka. How does Blood Alliance sound in comparison to other albums? I don't mean quality-wise, but feeling-wise. I would say that Wings of Forever has a much different feeling than Master of Illusion. Well, absolutely. I think Wings and Master of Illusion are a million miles apart in terms of feel. The Master of Illusion lyrical aspect, makes that very, very different. And that's something that's continued with Blood Alliance, to be honest. The kind of more real life, more topical subject matter that's actually dealt with in the lyrics rather than just writing about swords and dragons and all that kind of malarkey. Well, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I've found as I've gotten older, I've been kind of thinking more about what's going on in the world and how it affects me and how it affects those around me. And I think it's natural that inspiration, comes across in the songwriting as well. There's no two ways about it. I think I feel challenged by what's going on in the world, and I've got an opinion on things, so I want to put that across in the music. But I think production-wise, Blood Alliance stands out from probably all the previous records as well. I think it's probably a more heavy metal record in terms of, certainly in terms of the guitars and the drums. And Chitty's vocals add a bit of depth to things that weren't there before as well, so maybe you're looking at a scenario where, previously people would have said, oh, I don't like high vocals, it's all, just screeching, blah, blah, blah. But maybe there's something here for the more hard, rocky, kind of blues-orientated vocal fans, even when we're going at, 200 beats per minute as we are on a couple of songs on the record, like, you know, Survive and Glorious. Question here from me old friend Dominic James Fairgrieve by name, who asks, quite topically actually, will there be a return of the PQ Cast Podquest videocast for when you guys are on tour, or just whenever you can find the time? He seems to think I've got a good radio voice. Well, I don't know, have I? Again, over to you boys. But yeah, you know, I'm starting off again here, and I'd like to make this a kind of regular thing, if you like. We've got a new YouTube channel being put together at the minute by Andy Midgley, and hopefully these things can sit on there and, you know, appear on, I don't know, monthly basis, something like that, or whenever we get the time to do it. You know, it's good fun doing these things anyway, even if I am sat in the studio here doing it on my own, which is a little bit disturbing in some ways. Next question, Andrew Lance, good friend from over the water. I'd like to know what the bandmates do while not doing PQ. Hobbies, day jobs, etc, etc. Well, I'm not sure too many of us have got time for hobbies these days, but, you know, everybody works pretty hard at what they do. I'll run you through what the guys do, actually. Paul Finney, he's a bit like myself, you know, he's got a regular job, works for a well-known insurance company, you know, no name dropping at all. Me, well, I work for an IT provider. Worked in the IT industry for thick end of 20 years now, and I specialise in previously in Novell Solutions, and now I deal with Citrix thin client type stuff. Rich, he works at a rehearsal studio in Derby where we actually rehearse. They also do bits of recording there for local bands as well, so he's fairly busy with that. Gav works down in a superstore down in South Wales, down in the Port Talbot neck of the woods, I believe. While young Andy works for a well-known retail chain, quite a high-class one, eh, Andy? Mr. Sommerparler is a vocal tutor, was previously a bass tutor as well, mighty fine bass player actually, you know, come to mention it. And, you know, he also busies himself with various covers gigs, playing with Red Circuit and many, many other things. He's currently working with some guys over in Sri Lanka on a song that's involved with the Cricket World Cup, or hopefully will be. Chris Whitehouse asks us, how has Chitty coped with the older PQ songs? Has it taken some time for him to grasp them, or was it pretty straightforward? Very good question. It's come up a few times, to be honest. Andrew Lance mentioned it. I think Kingface over on our forum raised the issue as well. And yeah, it's a perfectly good question. I think what you've got to do, you've got to take a step back, I think, and think, right, Chitty and Alessio are completely different singers. You cannot expect a guy with Chitty's vocal range to do what Alessio did, and vice versa. You couldn't expect Alessio to sing some of the songs on Blood Alliance in the same way that Chitty has done it. They're two different guys. And how Chitty deals with the older material, well, he's doing a pretty good job, to be honest. You know, I think some songs are clearly more suited to Alessio, whilst others Chitty's taken a real shine to. And, you know, we're digging into the back catalogue and playing songs that, well, in some cases we've never played live before. And I think that, you know, I'm conscious of, I don't want to become a tribute to the previous lineup. It's important that all these guys get a chance to put their mark on some of the songs, both the old ones and the new ones. And obviously when we go out on the road, it's a new lineup. These guys have all played on this album. We want to promote this album, so you can't expect us really to play 3 new songs and then 12 old ones. I think it's definitely going to be a 50-50 split when we come out to play headline shows in May. Incidentally, yeah, May, UK tour. I think May the 5th, we're in London at the Purple Turtle. May the 6th, we're in Derby at the Redemption Club. May the 7th, we're in Manchester at Satan's Hollow. You got to love that name, haven't you? And we round off that little trip in Glasgow on May the 8th at Grand Central, I think. Or was it the Classic Grand? One of the two. It's going to be a good night. I love playing in Glasgow. I haven't been there since the Halloween tour in 2006. So I'm really looking forward to getting back there, to be honest. I think it's going to be a hell of a night, and it'll be a hell of a few days as well. While we're on the subject of live dates, of course, we've got some shows coming up with, well, one of my favourite bands, and I suspect one of you guys' favourite bands as well, Symphony X. We're out with them March the 22nd at the Scala in King's Cross, London. March the 23rd at the Robin 2 in Bilston, Wolverhampton. And March the 24th, we're in Sheffield at the Corporation. So, you know, it's a real pleasure to be able to come out on the road with these guys. You know, they've been a favourite band of mine for over 10 years. And, you know, it should be fun. And just before that, we're making an appearance at Hammerfest as well. We're on pretty early though, guys, on the Saturday. So those of you going to be around, we're actually going to be on stage 2, I think, at 1 in the afternoon. You know, it's not exactly rock and roll time, but hopefully some people will come down and check out what will be the first performance with the new lineup. You know, we're playing 45-minute set, I think, 50-50 old and new material. Be great to see you. You know, hopefully it'll be a good afternoon, and then we can hang out and have a couple of drinks later on, which is always nice. A couple more questions from guys on the forum. One of our new friends actually goes by the name of Blinded No More, great name, who asks, where was the Glory Tonight video filmed? Well, for those of you who've seen it, and I suspect most of you have on YouTube now, that was done when we were recording the Wings of Forever album, if I remember rightly. And it was filmed in Virginia Water Country Park, which is literally a few hundred yards from Thin Ice Studios in Virginia Water. I wasn't actually there the day they did that. I think it was a very impromptu thing. A lot of mucking around and larking about, as you do when you're doing recording and stuff. But you know, yeah, it was a low budget of the, well, extremely low budget. Well, there was no budget, was there? Let's face it. But it did what it was intended to do, just give something for people to have a joke and a giggle about, whereas we could have done nothing, you know. So happy days and happy memories looking back at that. Mr. Indestructible, another one of our forum dudes, asks, do you guys all live close to each other? Is it possible to jump in the car and visit in a few minutes? Well, the answer to that is no, it's not. Yeah, previously, of course, I had 3 guys in Italy, and that was pretty difficult. But, you know, obviously it's easier now. Paul lives up in Glasgow. Gav lives in Port Talbot, or nearby. Andy lives in Manchester. Rich in, Derby. I live down in Southampton. And Chitty's obviously over in Trier in Germany. We all meet in Derby. It's about a 3-hour drive for me to get there. It's about a 5-hour drive for Paul to come down. Andy opts over on the train, a couple of hours, if that, and it's about a 3.5-hour drive for Gav from South Wales. So, no, it's not possible just to duck round for a cup of tea and a cake, or whatever you might want to do. But it's still a lot easier. We have rehearsals once a month now, a full weekend of it. Chitty flies over, flies into Nottingham. Rich picks him up, and it all works very nicely. You know, it's good to be able to get together more regularly, to be honest, and I think that really helped in the preparation of the songs for the new album. It meant that we all went into the studio knowing 100% what we were going to be doing, and there were very few things to work out, to be honest, once we were there. And I think that comes across in the results of the album as well, you know. Let's bear with me, just have a swig of coffee and get a dry throat here. Back in a sec. There we go, that's better. Right, a couple more questions, I reckon. Right, another good friend on the forum, The Fool in Paradise, who asks, Steve, what are your highlights of Power Quest this far? And what do you still want to accomplish that you haven't already with the band? Good question. You know, I think there's been plenty of highlights over the years. You know, actually making an album to start with was pretty much a dream come true. But then when you think, yeah, you know, we've toured with Helloween, we've toured around Europe with Angra and Firewind, we've played festivals like Bloodstock and Prog Power and things like that, played shows with other favourite bands like Labyrinth, Dream Evil, and, you know, to still be here 10 years later, it's pretty cool, to be honest. Obviously, you know, it'd be great to break out of the underground a little bit more and, you know, sort of make a full-time job out of it, but, you know, reality check time. What's the likelihood of that happening in this day and age unless you get a whopping great push from someone? It's not about fame and fortune for me. It's the artistic thing. It's being able to record what you want in the knowledge that your fan base out there are going to like it. And I'm lucky, as are the rest of the guys in the band, to have really dedicated, loyal fans who've, in many cases, been with us right from the word go. And you can't put a price on that kind of thing. He goes on to ask, did you originally set out to alter the band's vocals sound by hiring a singer with a different range and style to Alessio? Well, yeah, ultimately. I figured it's an opportunity to change that maybe would not have come along at another time. I think the concept of Alessio 2 didn't really interest me, to be honest. I think Alessio was awesome at what he did, but to think somebody's just going to copy that kind of thing wasn't really where I was going, to be honest. And yeah, it was a great opportunity to bring Chitty into the band and do something a little bit different while keeping it quintessentially PQ, The new members of the band, he asks, how do you feel to be in Power Quest? Well, I think from my perspective, obviously they're not here, but I know that most of these guys were big PQ fans before they joined the band, and that goes a long, long way. It's made such a difference to the energy and the work ethic. Everybody wants to better what's gone before, even though they love what's gone before, and I think that's just fantastic. I really think it's. I'm kind of lucky, really, to have found a unit of guys, 5 guys who are all really, really trying to make a fantastic job, Talking of the lineup, got a question here from Alex Jacoby, another forum member. It says it's a cliched question, but he asks, what was it like forming a completely new lineup? Did the band have any troubles getting along, bonding, or did you get along right from the word go? Well, I suppose it's a cliched answer in some ways, but everybody did get on really well from the word go, and I think now, after a year of all these guys being together, it really is like a brotherhood, You put any 2 people in a room together and they'll be talking for hours. It just doesn't matter which 2, and we all have a great time rehearsing. We have a great time hanging out after rehearsal, and it's going to be the same on the road, It's just 6 people all trying to achieve the same thing. No egos, no bullshit, just good guys, good music, and good fans. What more could you want? Question again from Indestructible. If you guys weren't in the power metal genre, which genre would you want to be in? Well, I don't know really. I'm not sure I particularly want to be in a genre. I just do what I do. I guess if I wasn't doing this kind of thing, I'd probably be more maybe AOR, melodic hard rock, that kind of thing. I might go for some of the other boys in the band as well. But from Journey to Dream Theater, that's my kind of thing, I'm big into the catchy stuff, but I'm into the technical stuff as well. As you know, Symphony X, Dream Theater, Digital Ruin, bands like that, they just really do it for me. And even going way back to, the 80s, and getting into bands like Marillion and, Clutching at Straws is still one of my favourite albums of all time. I guess that's enough questions for now. I've got a ton of these that we'll come back to for the next podcast. I should also mention that we've got some new merchandise in stock. Well, it'll be delivered next week and be available on the Symphony X tour. A new Blood Alliance T-shirt. We'll also have Blood Alliance CDs with us on those dates as well. Unfortunately, we won't have any of this stuff with us at Hammerfest, I'm afraid to say. Anyway, guys, I think I've rattled on for quite long enough, to be honest. Great to talk to you. Don't forget to check out the all-new PowerQuest website at www.power-quest.co.uk. Launched on Monday. Fantastic design by Mr. Forgotten Glory. Check him out. Check out the site. And I'll check you all out soon. Take care now. Cheers.